Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett, and today I wanted to share a meditation that I've recently had. I didn't meditate before. I realized my true nature, but since I started the meditation practice, because I realized that going inward is the most important thing that I can do. So I started off thinking of like Russian dolls, the big doll with a smaller doll inside, smaller, going right down to a doll that's like the size of a pea. I was kind of visualizing that. And then I started to think about the body and asking myself the question, am I the body? Now, it's something that I know. I know I'm not this body, but I started off with the question, am I the body? The answer came back, no, I'm not the body. The body cannot contain what I am. So in a way, that was kind of like something with the P, Russian doll. And so I sat with that for a while. The body cannot contain what I am. The body has never contained what I am. I've just been mistaken in it. I've just assigned myself to like this this placekeeper on this game board, this little piece I've just become fascinated with, and I've called it me. And that's all the body is. So I meditated on that for a while. So I was like, so I'm bigger than the body. It's like, if the body cannot contain me, what contains me? Does this room contain me? No. No. Does the city that I'm in contain me? No. Just the country? No. Am I any of those things? I was like, no, I'm bigger. I'm bigger. So I was expanding all the time. I was like, so every other self within this city is contained in me. The mountains, the lakes contained in me. So I'm just expanding. So then I was like, well, am I continents and oceans? No, I'm bigger than that. Am I this planet? No, I'm bigger than that. So I was just expanding. So it's like, okay, so if I don't identify with this planet that I've apparently had this experience on, am I any planet? No, I'm bigger. I'm bigger than any of that. So I'm expanding. I was like, the universe. They say the universe is always expanding. They say the universe is always growing, don't they? Am I the universe? It's like, I'm bigger than that. If the universe is always moving, it's always moving into something. I am the infinity that it's trying to fill. I was like, so in that way, I contain the universe. The universe is in my mind. So the universe is one of my thoughts. If the universe is in my mind as one of my thoughts, that's where I get that feeling of this life is a dream from. Because what is a dream but a thought in your own mind? So I was meditating on this for a while, and I was like, wow. I was like, nothing physical can contain me. I'm more than that. So that goes right the way up the ladder, right the way up the Russian dolls to the biggest Russian doll that I could find, which was the universe. And I still realized that that couldn't be me. I couldn't be a collection of planets and suns and cosmoses and galaxies. And I had to be more than that. It had to be inside of me. So the universe is one of my thoughts. So what is it? It's the thought of separation. It's the thought, could I be something other than what I really am? It's the thought, could I be separate from my source? So with that, the Big Bang, the Big Bang, which is actually just a tiny thought within this infinite mind. Okay, let's investigate. What would this be like? All of time seems to happen in an instant. Every lifetime, every planet, every evolution, every destruction of every star, every birth of every new one, everything, every little person, every little animal, every little plant, every little microorganism, and every single level of this one thought, could I be separate, happened. It didn't satisfy me, because here I am, remembering my true nature and remembering that nothing physical can contain me. So as mind-blowing as that thought which seems so huge here, which seems vast, so complicated, so multi-layered, actually, within my infinite mind, it's a tiny blip of, could this be? I wouldn't want that to be. With separation comes conflict. Inevitable. It's inevitable. Look at the world. So I was thinking about this, and I was in a meditative state, and I was huge. I was vast. I was never ending, but I contained everything. I was contained in nothing. I was the container of all that is. So it got me thinking about time and space. If that was an investigation into space, does any concept of space hold me? No, it doesn't. So if we think of time and space almost like coordinates, I exist in this space at this time. So it's kind of like, that's where the lines cross, that's where I am. So I was like, okay, if I'm not contained by space, am I contained by time? And I was like, this body certainly seems to be, but I know I'm not this body. The city that I'm in has changed so much. I know I'm not, I'm bigger. The country, the planet, anything which is subject to change, I must not be, because I'm changeless. So in that way, I was like, time does not contain me. I contain time. It's just a little kind of measuring device that I've come up with to try and track the progress of the story, when really what I am is completely non-linear. It's not dependent on this must happen to make that happen to make this happen. I'm everything at once. So it just seemed like a really significant meditation. And with it kind of came that explanation, because when in past videos, and I'm sure you've heard it in a lot of spiritual chat, that this world is like a dream. And you're like, but how can it be? That's how it can be. Because it's just an idea inside the one infinite mind. And that one infinite mind is what we are. So it makes something that seems so vast, so incomprehensible, when we think about the universe, and when we say things like it never ends, and how many stars there are, how many planets there are, how many opportunities for different types of life in these places, and all of these things seems so vast, so incomprehensible, is tiny compared to what we are. It's just a thought in our mind. It was just the thought, could I be separate? It was just the thought, could I be something other than what I am? And we couldn't. And that's why we're waking up. And that's where this sense of dissatisfaction has come from, what we call the human condition. I'm going to argue that maybe every life form in the entire universe has it. I must be something more than this. Because we cannot accept that this little fleshy prison that we've been told is us can be it. How can it be? And it's not. So I don't know whether, whoever's listening to this has any kind of meditative practice, but I quite often find like real realizations like that, even though it's things that maybe I've heard before, even though I think it's maybe like concepts that I'm aware of, to experience it like that, it feels experiential. It doesn't feel like just a reading from a book or listening to a video. It feels like something known, something remembered. So that vastness that we are, that the infinite, it's a wild concept for us to get our head around with these little human, supposedly cordoned off minds, okay? But we are infinite. We contain everything. What we are contains everything. And I was talking to one of my friends last week. We went out for lunch, and she's recently lost her dad. So we've been having like chats that kind of circle around kind of mortality and things a lot lately. And I don't preach this to the people in my life. If I see a spot where I can get something in, I will say it. But people need to hear it when they're ready to hear it. And I don't know. I kind of somehow realize it's not me sharing it anyway. If it's a good time to share, then it will come through me. And we were talking about, the possibility of an afterlife or something like that. I was like, well, there can't be an afterlife where I meet you as a ghost, and there's the ghost of my old auntie, and there's the ghost of my 10 dogs I've had, and there's the ghost of this. I was like, because we were never separate. So if what this was one thing with lots of finger puppets on, seemingly interacting, and somehow getting these little wild ideas that I must be it, each little finger puppet, I must be it, I must be the center of everything. Well, when they took off, what's left? Just the one, just the one. So we were talking about, an afterlife is just a return to unity. We're not living in a city in the clouds. We're not still encountering each other as if we were separate, because that was the error. That was the game we played. So once that game's over, well, unless we feel the need to take another incarnation because we haven't quite got over the game, which I think is also a thing, but it's just a return to unity. It's a return to that vastness that holds everything, that is contained by nothing, is completely free, always extending itself because it's radiant, always sharing, always giving, therefore always extending. So I wanted to share that today, kind of just to try and explain a little way when I'm quite often talking about this life's a dream. You think, well, how can it be when it feels so real? But then if you think this entire universe is a dream, because we still want to think about this life's a dream of me. And that's how it appears to us just now. But everything's a dream. The mountains and lakes are a dream. The oceans are a dream. The sky is a dream. Every planet, every star, every comet, every galaxy is a dream. And it can only be what we are. Like when I dream at night, it doesn't matter how many characters are in my dream, they're all me because it's my dream that I'm having. Every backdrop, every city, every whatever it is I see in my dream is me because it's me projecting it. And this 3D dream is exactly the same. So I just thought it might be quite interesting to share because I can totally understand how this whole life's a dream chat could get some people being like, yeah, nice sounding words, but I don't feel it. I don't, it just still seems very real to me. I'm still here. You know what I mean? So, and I understand it. I understand why some people might think that. So maybe if you think about it that way, like opening up all the Russian dolls and then realizing there's no more Russian dolls to open, but I'm still here. I'm still the one opening them. In that way, oh, so none of those limitations, not the limitation of a body, not the limitation of a planet, not the limitation of a galaxy. I'm not limited. All of these ideas of separation, of limitation, are occurring just in my mind. And my mind is the one infinite mind. So I thought it might give you something to think about. I love you.